case anybody was trying to come up with some last minute gifts.
Give me a thumbnail machine.
I'd like a thumbnail machine, please. Can someone please make me a thumbnail machine?
Literally unbeatable. If you made a thumbnail machine, I don't know how much money I would pay for that.
Hey, what shirt are you gonna wear for this video? Son of a!
Happens way too often.
What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing our top baits of 2024 with our soft lure choices. So a whole bunch of soft plastics that maybe you buy, maybe you don't. Maybe you get some ideas from this video. Maybe you think we're wrong. And you can tell us what you think in the comments below. We appreciate y'all. But these are essentially the soft plastics that we use all year long because they would not stop catching fish.
A lot of these are new, but some of them are just new to us. So they're like, some of these have been out for a while and we just discovered and we're like, you need to know about this. So yeah, well, let's get into it, but just want to make sure you guys knew. Not every single one of these brand new, but new to these guys.
Yep. We're gonna do the same thing we did in our other video. We're starting right up top of the water column. Well, technically this one sinks.
Starts on top.
Slowly, and it backslides. But we're talking first about Bite Baits BSE. This is on both of our top lists because
same color.
Freaking love this thing.
Yeah, this is called the BSE, stands for Best Skipper Ever. It looks like a spaceship, and you actually end up fishing it backwards. So 5/0 hook goes into this one, which is basically the entire length of this entire bait. And I'll tell you right now, it's called the BSE Best Skipper Ever, and that's not a lie. That's not false advertising. It's only true advertising.
Fully correct.
I literally remember, like, there was a point in one of the videos we made where I was like, all right, let's see how... And I was like, ha! A world record.
I am not good at skipping. I've never been able to do it, but I was able to do it nonstop that day and continued on days and days and days and days. Right. Basically, the rest of the season I fished that thing.
But on top of all that, it caught fish really well. So a lot of times what you'll see is this would slide up the hook just because of the way it's rigged. It is a very durable, kind of dense plastic, so this one does start to sink down. So I flipped this a lot too, actually. Sort of like how you would flip a gravity bait, which you'll see one of those later. But
and you can mend it and mend it and mend it.
Continue to mend it.
And you mend it. And you mend
it. And Big Bite Bait's known for value. I think this still falls in that same realm.
Also, Nick, the informative fisherman, informed us that you could just use a lighter. You just melt the plastic a little bit and then it sticks back together.
I'll do that video on a short right after this video.
I promised him I would remember to put a lighter in my kit and I haven't done it yet.
Didn't do that.
Gotta do that, right?
Yeah, this thing absolutely hammered on. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Big Bite Baits. This bait was phenomenal. So that bait, not like very new. This one, like
not new.
New to us though. New to us.
I didn't know it existed though. So we got the Savage Gear Tough Toad for those topwater bites. Now, I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. Nick, the informative fisherman, put us onto this juice because he co-created it. Also the BSE, he was a part of the design of that too.
Like 5 baits from him. We got everything Savage Gear, we got a whole bunch.
And they're all good. But anyway, so he put us on this juice here. This is a TPE plastic, so it is stretchy, it is super durable, easy to rig, comes with hooks. So like if you buy this, all you have to do is own a medium heavy to a heavy stick and you are good to go. You can go fish. Awesome frog. He had mentioned like, hey, I got rid of all my hollow bodies and I only fish this.
I won't go that far.
I will not go that far, as you saw in the other video where I put the scum frogs down. So I love my hollow body bites too, but hookup ratio on a single hook, pretty tempting, pretty insane. This is a lot of fun to fish. I specifically had the green pumpkin chartreuse color, but I also have the white and the black one too.
Black was the one that did it for me.
Those are like the 3 colors. You got your natural, you got your all white, you got your all black. Like those are all the best kind of frogs to have.
You know when you see videos of people fishing, you get like this big mean like
that hook set.
You get to do that. And it is successful and fun. So I love that bait too. That would have been in my top, but we went halvesies on that one.
Is great.
So we talked about it earlier, gravity baits. This is the Yamamoto Yama Tanuki. So kind of, again, similar to the BSE, but all you do, it's a dense plastic, so it has its
much
own
denser
weight.
Than the BSE.
Yes, and so but also a lot more plush. So the deal with these, we tested a bunch of these last year, and we had a ton of fun on them. They would have been on my favorites last year.
Poop baits.
They're still my favorites this year because these skipped really well. They caught a ton of fish in different scenarios where I wasn't using them last year, and they just still held up. So Yamamoto Yama Tanuki absolutely got it done. I'll tell you right now, though, a little more on the expensive side, so value is lower. And they do get shredded. Now you can rotate them. Like if you hook it through the bottom, you can, if it rips a little, you flip it over, do that, and then you flip it to the side, rig it again. You can do this over and over again and make it last longer. It's still not nearly as durable as something like the BSE, but ton of fun to fish and caught a bunch of fish, which means I'm buying it and I'm fishing it.
Yeah, if you can get a Yamamoto sale going, get those.
Don't think, just buy.
All right. Let's go to Flukey boys.
Let's do that.
So we had 2 Fluke style baits. One's really a minnow, I should say. So first up, zoom, what are we doing? Zoom flukes, man. Just get a zoom, super salty fluke. Like, you're going to be very happy.
What size, though? Because 5-inch is like the one that is known, right?
This is the 5-inch. This is my go-to, and I'll grab my main 2 go-to colors here. I love having either all white or white with the chartreuse tip tail there. That is phenomenal, and always gets them done. And then we've got the smoky shad color, which gives you a little blue flake in there as well. Those were my top 2 colors this year. I love running these weightless. Pro tip, nose hook them.
Yeah.
Don't use just an EWG because you're worried about getting hung up. You won't get hung up that much, but if you nose hook it, really easy to skip, way better action. Fish these around cover and docks.
This is the kind of hook you want to use. I like the larger style wacky hooks. So I think a 2 is like a 2-aughts, like the right size.
More of the circle variety of hooks.
It's really important.
Finesse.
It's going to give you a lot of action, but it's also going to mean that you're going to just like the fish is going to engulf that hook, and then you got a good chance of keeping it as you reel it in. It worked really well.
Yeah. So we got the Yum Sonar Minnow. This is our forward-facing variety bait. Listen, I know it's for forward-facing sonar. I didn't use it specifically for that. We actually tested a whole bunch of like FFS, forward-facing sonar specific lures from Berkley, from Yum, from all different brands. We didn't really care about that feature whatsoever. What we did
like about it a feature now?
Yeah, well,
your color was my second favorite. This was my favorite
Houdini.
for the year. Yeah, so Jeff's color was Houdini. Mine was, which one is this? Wait, which one do you have?
Houdini.
Houdini Shad or Houdini?
Houdini Shad. You made me open this for no reason.
We both had the same
color.
The
10 killer was the other one.
10 that's one I thought you had was 10 killer. So 10 killer was like a green sparkle on top, like a gizzard shad with a white on bottom. This is the Houdini Shad, and I absolutely love this. Great. The copper was phenomenal in here. Now, not super durable, but the size is what really does this. I think it's like a 3.5 or 4-inch, I think it is. 4-inch?
4 inches. They come in a couple different sizes. Nice thing about this, though, is that flat side, which is designed for forward-facing sonar, is actually really good for skipping. and action is awesome on those. So we both nose hooked them, threw them weightless, we drop shotted them, and we can just put them on a jig head, like any jig head you had. Yep. You could do some mid-strolling with this thing, or you could just fish minnow on a jig, like one of the most classic bass fishing lures that you can use.
Yep, the same wacky style circle hook, just downsized, so you're going like one size down.
More finessey.
And then you're going to definitely want to be on a spinning setup. So medium light was perfect, but a medium was great too. Just something really light. Shorter too. I like this for short work, especially if you're skipping under docks. So I'm at the 6'6", 7-foot max is what I want for these ones. And yeah, you're gonna have yourself a heckin' great time. Also, just make sure you're using a leader. You're gonna want that fluoro leader for sure. But look at the size and profile difference between the Zoom 5-inch and then this 4-inch. Like these are not the same. There's a huge difference, and it really did make a difference, especially in the height of summer. Downside to this one was great. When there's a lot of grass around, I go for the bigger one. That's just how I kind of was doing it this summer. This thing was a banger.
Another one on the flukes that I would talk about here would be the scented jerk shads. Now it's Z-Man Elastec, so it does float. So if you're trying to fish it like a dying fluke bait, it's gonna sit on top. That doesn't mean that you won't catch on it. I caught a bunch on it, especially in the heat of the summer. You just like have quick action with it. Yeah, just like skip it under a dock, pop, pop, pop. And you would get bit on that, skip it under your cover. It was doing great. But when you need some scent, when they're being a little finicky, when they're not holding on to the bait long enough for you to land them, potentially this can make a difference. And it did make a difference for me on multiple days. And then if you want it to get down, simply put it on a jig head, you're good to go. These things are phenomenal. They're scented really well and obviously durable because they're Z-Man.
We're going to stick with the Z-Man theme here. So we talked about in our hard baits version of this video, which already came out, we talked about the Evo, the Tungsten Evo and the Evo, the new bladed jigs from Z-Man, where the price point is coming down and they're increasing the value. They came out with 2 baits. Jeff and I have essentially picked the same one in 2 different versions. The Chatter Shad, which has a tail, and the Chatter Spike, which has a pointed tail. So both of these were our favorites for the season. So this is the Chatter Shad. You can see it's got the flat blade of a tail there, and then you've got the Spike. Now, what makes these, well, I'll say a little bit unique is you can kind of see right here, the tail section is very segmented, and because it's Z-Man, you're not just gonna like break off because it's attached very thinly. This thing, the profile is perfect match for the chatterbait in general, but really the Evo. And the nice thing about the colors were they match perfectly with all the different color options that are available on the Evo. So it all looks like when the blade is painted the way it is, all the way to the back, if you have the chatter spike or the chatter shad on there, it's all matching. It looks super good.
All right, next up, we got to talk about some worms. We also had like consequently, some really good conversations, I'll call them. There were arguments in the comments about these baits. So some people are very particular about their Senko. You got to get the OG.
Fair enough.
You got to get the Yamamoto.
So the Yamamoto's on my list. So
it's on everybody's list. Let's be real.
The color is
love this color.
Lumshart.
Don't love the name. Love the bait though.
But yeah, this is
chartreuse tip killer.
I think
in the Midwest.
and I think this is really what I wanted to call out was like this green pumpkin with sort of the Christmas tree green and red color, and then the chartreuse stinger tail on there. This color was a little bit of a revelation. Caught a lot of fish on it this year, and found myself going back to it. And then when we did a big order of worms with Yum, ended up getting their copycat. I don't even know who had it first, but whoever had it first. We had their version of it. Cream, probably. We got their version of this one, and it's in Jeff's list, and it was both worms were in mine. So the Yamamoto was the one for me. This one, though, this color. Lumshart.
Yep. Lumshart. Gotta get it. The Yum Dinger that we lovingly call the Yummy Dingy, who has won a bracket series for us.
It is yummy, and it's a dingy.
They're fantastic. People love them. You can get the multi-packs. This is a 30 rack right there. And I've actually mixed up the colors in there so I can choose variety. You can get the Mighty Bag.
I love this, dude.
4 different colors.
Flat bag comes with 100 worms. And if you're a worm fisherman, like, does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
And then they have, like, pre-made packs where it's, like, Junebug, dark colors. They have Midwest colors.
Green
they have,
pumpkin
like, the
versions,
green pumpkin versions. So you can get, like, 4 different in here. And, like, look what it came with. There's the color we were just talking about. They have their version where it's a green pumpkin with a chartreuse tail. This was my second favorite of the year. Again, just a bait that we found ourselves going back to over and over again after like 3 years of probably maybe touching a Texas rig 3 times.
So, and the Yum Dinger is a cheap worm option for everybody. So value conscious. Buy.
This one right here, though, you're paying more. It's a little general. It is the power bait version, right? So this is the Maxscent version of the power bait. So the most expensive one. I have like a nice test environment where I have like a limited, where I fish the same place over and over again, and I can test finesse baits really. And so I will tell you right now, like the chartreuse version of this one, the green pumpkin version of this one, and this one, which is their peanut butter and jelly, they've caught the most fish. And I stopped fishing them on a Ned rig because they constantly get torn. What I started doing is fishing them on a jig, like a football or a ball-headed jig. I caught more fish earlier in the year. I caught more fish in stained water, and the plastics lasted longer. So this right here compared with the jig was one of my biggest wins for the year. I now can't stop buying these. It's an issue, but they're not cheap. So I feel bad for you if I just hooked you up with something that now, you know, you just have expensive taste.
Sorry, not sorry. So the Finesse TRD, which is your standard 3-inch worm style stick bait. It's stretchy because it's Z-Man Elastec. Throw that onto your jigs. You're never going to lose your trailer. You'll lose the jig first before you lose the trailer.
100%.
But this PB&J paired up with the Kitech jig that I showed in the other top.
Little purple brown.
Little brown, little perp. Little purple, little brown. But anyways, throw that on your jig and you're going to have a good time. All right, you guys, so let's downsize a little bit. Got 2 great options here that were killer for me on the Micro Texas setup. When I say Micro Texas, you can throw this on any setup you want. You can go spinning, you could go BFS gear, which is what I preferred to do this with, or you can go any of your like medium light to medium casting gear. And you're obviously using lighter line because we're using, you know, smaller baits and lighter weights. So I was throwing this on with a 1/16 ounce NACO tungsten weight. It's actually right over here somewhere. We threw this little worm weight and we actually use this hook. Can you see it? This is a little tiny EWG from Ryugi. It's the Ryugi Hobbit hook. So if you're looking for this, it is, I believe, still on Tackle Warehouse. You can get it from any JDM sites as well. Point is, tiny EWG, perfect for Micro Texas setup. It is super light wire, but it will catch big fish.
Yep.
It did catch a giant fish. When we were actually fishing with Ethan and Debo on a lake in Michigan here, we were just flipping around Micro Texas, and I happened to catch on this Finesse TRD, the little baby copper truce boy.
Stole my biggest fish. Well, would have been.
Literally robbed Paul. Paul was like just trying to get this little fish to
on a Micro Texas.
It was like a 3 point, I think it was 3.8.
Yeah.
It was like a near 4 pound fish, so 3.8. and he's flipping a Micro Texas. It wouldn't go for his.
Well,
I think it picked it up and dropped
picked it up, but I had a plastic that was too big for the hook because I was lazy. And then I tried to set the hook. Plastic got in the way, missed the fish, and I was like, "Oh, Jeff, there,
and
fish."
I went, dibs.
Same thing, right size hook catches the fish. And I was like, I quit.
The other Micro Texas rig that I was throwing a ton this year after this came out and was publicly available was the Missile Baits Micro D-Bomb. If you ever fish the D-Bomb, it is a great little bait by itself, but then you micro size it and it's insane. So this one here is in what they call oxblood. It's PB&J. Paired that up with jigs, threw it Micro Texas rig.
That's
threw it on, yeah, Jika rig I threw that on, and I threw it on a Z-Man swing head jig. And I think other thing, I don't know what else I did.
There's no
I
wrong
rigged it
way
a
to
million
do it.
ways.
Yeah, there's no wrong way to do it. I think on a jig too, is just a skirted jig is going to be an awesome option.
Super affordable, 10 to a pack. Like for $4.99.
I like that.
Free $99 almost.
Speaking of $4.99 bangers, we have the TRD Gobies. Now you could buy the Gobius where it's pre-rigged. It's a great option. What I found was this gave me more options because I had a bunch with me and I could drop shot it. I could do, a lot of different swim bait hooks is what actually worked for me. Now I know there's two sets of eyes here and that seems completely insane, but I grabbed the Outcast Tackle 1/0 swim bait head, the golden eye. This combo was insane. Held onto the plastic really well. This is a 3/4 ounce, so it's too big. I like the 1/4 ounce is my favorite. Size down a little bit, and I like the green pumpkin painted head. But this is the exact setup. The 1/0 is perfect for the gobies, and I've caught I just caught like almost too many fish in the spring. Like it was at a point where I was like, is this real? Is this happening? Because we're talking about from the bank having 50 to 100 fish days, like back to back on either the gobies or the gobius. And so, yeah, this was a absolute must have for me. I have it with me all the time now, anytime I'm fishing like clear water. It's just, I gotta have them.
All right, next up, we got more finesse here, but we got the drop shot. So my drop shot option of the year quickly became this one right here. This is the Great Lakes Finesse Drop Minnow. It is phenomenal on drop shot. It's also really good just weightless.
The underspin, baby.
Yeah, or on the underspin. So you can do sneaky underspin or your underspin of choice. It is a good trailer for that. A chatterbait trailer for like the chatterbait, the flashback mini or micro chatterbaits. It works really well on those too, but specifically drop shot was like the moneymaker, and this color was the moneymaker, surprisingly enough. It's called Meltdown, and it is bright chartreuse, but the fish couldn't get enough of this thing.
Next up, we've got the Fat Assassin from Euro Tackle. So this for me, like I was having a horrible day. I put this on and I had a great day, and it was like instantly I started catching fish. I had this on a drop shot. These are really inexpensive. This pink bubblegum color, this and the black were the two that I tend to catch the most on. They have a whole bunch of different colors, but those two are my favorite. You're going to need a small hook. The mosquito hook from Owner, their drop shot hook, is what I would recommend. That is my BFS. Gosh, there's a lot of glare.
Very glary.
Very glary. There we go. That's a little better. This thing absolutely got it done for me, so highly recommend. Someone's about to tell me that I'm a fanboy because I'm going to show you another Great Lakes Finesse bait. This is the Juvie. I'm a fanboy. I'm sorry for liking stuff. This is the Juvie Craw, and I am using their jig. So they have a tube jig, and it is awesome because it's a short shank tube jig. It's really made for these smaller baits. But I can never get the antenna to like split the way that I want. I'm so insane about it. I just want it to be perfect. But their tube jig is awesome. It's perfectly set up for this bait. This thing right here, this is one of those baits where it's meant to mimic like that juvenile craw, hence the name Juvie Craw. It comes a lot of different colors and a lot of different new colors. They now have like a two-tone colors, but this is motor oil. This one is my favorite. This plastic specifically, I had a friend come over and fish, and not an experienced fisherman, and I was like, if they're going to catch on something on Lake St. Clair, it'll be this. First cast, fish, 2-pounder. Just like, I mean, barely hit the water, caught a fish. And from then on, I have been a believer. So you can catch this on spinning gear for sure, but also works on lighter bait casting gear as well. And there's no wrong way to fish it. You can swim it, you can hop it, you can dead stick it. It's awesome. So absolutely love that one.
Last bait I have for you guys is another fantastic drop shot option. There's actually a drop shot hook setup in there. This is the Z-Man Trick Shots. They are durable Elaz Tech. They've got an insane amount of action. They're actually a good jig trailer as well, or you can Ned rig these even. It's got this little flat tail section at the back. Lots of action. It is has been, still will be forever, probably my favorite drop shot lure. It just works really well. Copper Truce is a confidence bait color for me, and I know that I can throw this out on a drop shot and get a fish. So if I'm having a tough time, I'm like, hey, where are my trick shots at? Let's change this day up. Yeah, black or Copper Truce, probably my two favorites. The black, I believe they call yoga pants.
Yep.
And then you can see I've got these,
Morning Dawn.
I think they call it Twilight, but the Morning Dawn as well. All great options.
So those are our favorite baits, our soft plastics for this year. Excuse me. We have the baits and lures in another video, but those are our favorite soft plastics. Found a ton of success with them, and we hope that you take something away from this too. And you maybe find a bait that you were like, well, I didn't know if that was going to be good or not. And we can tell you from our experience it has been. And some of the new releases, if you were curious about how they worked, because we did take the time to test out a lot of what came out new for this season. These are the ones that we found success with. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you took something away from it. Hopefully you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can see when we post our next video. Because if you didn't do that, you should do it right now.
It's right over there. Maybe over there.
Bing bong, whichever way you're looking.
I don't know where it is.
But seriously, thanks guys for checking out this video. We'll catch you on the next one. This way? That way? Bye.